Hello, friends. I'm Chutney Whye, and this is I Love a Hoarder, a podcast about my life with Ding Ding, my hoarding honey from Hong Kong. This episode is part 2 of episode 14, and it begins on a bright Pasadena morning, the birds chirping, the air smelling faintly of apricot blossoms, and me standing on that doorstep, foolishly assuming that Nettie, the harried wife of a JPL astronomer, had told her husband I was coming to clean out his hoard. I had come 2 weeks earlier, pretending to assess her closet and schedule a cleanup, but I was secretly getting a look at the enormous hoard her husband had accumulated. And when I say hoard, let me paint a picture. Imagine a black hole, but instead of swallowing stars, it swallows half-broken telescopes, 30-year-old NASA memos, vacuum tubes, cracked mugs that once held cocoa during late-night planetary calculations. Oh, and one very nervous cat. So, yes, Wilfred thought I was there for his wife's closet, but in reality, I had a dumpster scheduled to arrive in precisely 1 hour. Which is why I didn't come alone. Now, if you've been following along, you're familiar with a force of nature we call Granny Notoparan. Legendary in certain Monterey Park fundamentalist circles, Little Granny was said to have once silenced an entire parish squabble simply by raising a single penciled-on eyebrow. She had also, according to Ding Ding, carried a baby grand piano across a muddy lawn to save it from a sudden sprinkler malfunction. Whether true or not, Ding Ding believed it and insisted I bring Granny along. So, standing beside me in her purple leggings, orthopedic sneakers, and a look of fierce determination was the lady herself. Wilfred opened the door. He looked relieved, even cheerful.
"Ah, you're here from my wife's closet," he said. "She's upstairs."
And I, fool that I am, plunged straight in. "Wilfred," I said brightly, "you are being very brave, allowing us to sort through your things today, being willing to part with some of it." Well, the smile slid right off his face.
"My things?"
"Why, yes," I said, trying to sound encouraging. "Your piles of science gear, NASA files, broken telescopes. Oh, didn't your wife tell you?" Well, that was the match to the fuse.
"What?" he bellowed. "You mean to tell me you tricked me? I thought you were here for her junk, and now you're here to throw away my belongings? My research? My legacy?"
He stormed toward me, then spun toward his wife, who had just walked into the room, then pointed at the ceiling like he was cross-examining the heavens.
"Do you people understand nothing? Those aren't junk piles. That's my record of human thought, of discovery. One day when the asteroid comes, and it will come, you'll be glad Wilfred from JPL kept a careful log of everything humanity threw away. You think this is junk? This is history. Do you know how many aliens I've tried to contact with these vacuum tubes?"
And then, just when it looked like the morning was destined for flames, I heard a sound like a rusty hinge swinging slowly open. I looked across the room, and there was Granny Notoparan, crumpled and miserable. She had begun to cry. Now, Granny is not a woman who cries easily. Her tears come slowly. But oh, when they come in rivers. She had sat herself down on a box of tangled electrical cables and was sobbing quietly. And then came the big, hiccuping sobs. Wilfred froze.
"Why are you upset? I'm the one who's been tricked."
Granny dabbed at her eyes with a lace handkerchief. "Oh, Wilfred," she said, her voice trembling. "You remind me so much of my boy. I miss him every single day. He had a temper too, just like you, silly boy. But I knew his temper wasn't really anger. It was fear, because he'd been given a terrible diagnosis. He knew he was going to lose every earthly thing, and that's terrifying." Wilfred blinked, his jaw unclenched. Granny patted her lap. "Come here." And, to my astonishment, Wilfred, a man who had declared from his telescope in our earlier episode that humanity would be roasted alive, this man allowed himself to be guided awkwardly onto Granny Notoparan's knees. She placed a steady hand on his chest, like she was grounding him in the present, and whispered, "Everything is going to be fine. You see, Wilfred, my boy was so strong and yet so frightened, and I'd hold him and remind him, we don't get to keep everything forever. Not the trophies, not the telescopes, not even the blue ribbons from St. Jessica's Church Bazaar." She chuckled through her tears. "And yes, not even the sky itself. Someday it all changes, but that doesn't mean it's doom. It means it's part of something bigger. One day we'll all have to let go, Wilfred. But until then, we don't have to carry every scrap of paper and broken gadget to prove we mattered. We matter because we loved. That is what is real. Love is what lasts." She rubbed small, comforting circles on his back, gentle as a lullaby. "So, if an asteroid really does come barreling toward us, Wilfred, I promise you, none of these boxes will make a bit of difference. But the love in this house, that will." The room was silent. The cat stood staring in from the hallway, tail twitching. Wilfred swallowed hard, nodded once, and stood up.
"I don't want to watch you work," he said quietly. "Let my wife decide what stays. I'll trust her."
And with that, he left the room. 6 hours later, Granny and I had filled the dumpster to the brim. We rediscovered the bed, unearthed a couple of lamps, a disassembled air fryer, and enough rolls of tin foil to build a spaceship. The living room still loomed like a mountain range, but we'd made a start. Outside, pulling off our gloves, I turned to Granny Notoparan. "Granny, I'm so impressed. Not just with your strength, but with your heart. You calmed Wilfred in a way no one else could. And I'm so sorry you lost your beloved boy." Granny sniffled and reached into her bag. "Would you like to see a picture of him?" "Why, yes, please," I said. She opened her wallet and handed me a photograph. "Oh, my goodness," I gasped. "He really was a big boy." Granny smiled fondly. "Alaskan Malamute, such a wonderful breed." And that, my dear friends, is how Granny Notoparan took control, not only of Wilfred's hoard, but of my entire morning. I guess sometimes the strongest person in the room is also the one with the gentlest heart. I'd like to think so, anyway. I'm Chutney Whye, and this has been I Love a Hoarder. Until next time, may your closets be clear, your cats be accounted for, and may you always have a Granny Notoparan to pull the fuse on the chaos. Oh, and remember to like and subscribe.